All right, here's another short review. Hopefully, I got the sound correct here. I didn't even mess with that earlier. Sorry for the little bit of delay here. Anyway, it's the Royal Lochnagar 12-year-old, and it's a 40%, unfortunately, ex-bourbon casks. It's a, let's see, chill filtered and colored, unfortunately. It's not peated. I don't go into the history or the marketing. I just talk about the facts and the stats, basically. But we're going to give it, you know, a good look and see what we get. Been letting it sit out for at least 12 minutes or so. Florals, lots of florals like jasmine. It's a bit grassy. Some nutmeg, some fruit, some white grapes, and some pears, and cherries even. It's a nice nose. Hmm. Mangoes is the first note I get. Apricots too. A little bit of coconut. It's tropical a bit. It's got some pineapple. It's got a custard, vanilla custard. It's a medium mouth coat, I'd say. And right before the finish, there's some mint. Hmm. And the finish is a bit buttery. It's goes into more of a purple Concord grape. It's dry, but it's a good length. I'd say it's a medium length finish. No smoke to speak of though, but I'm not surprised. This is a Highland. Sometimes you do get like a smokiness from the malted barley. Sometimes, even though this is 100% malted barley, no smoke to speak of, but no complaints really. Like I said earlier, it wasn't peated, so. But let's put a little drop and see. And I'm talking minimal because this is 40%. So you have to get your eyedropper out or your pipette if you're really good at just getting it literally a drop out there. And that's all we're gonna need. Let that simmer a bit. Hey, Sneck, good to see you. I'll be starting a new live feed for the discussion after I take a look at this quick review. Hmm. It brought the fruits forward and lowered the floral notes that I was getting on the nose after the water. More fruit forward instead of the florals. Interesting. A little more pith on the palate this time. This go around. Brought some of the more bitter mineral type tones out. I don't necessarily. I'm not a big fan of those, but some people are. It is well balanced. I'll give it that. The finish is definitely still there, but it's a little even more dry. It's and maybe shorter. I don't think the water helped a whole lot with other than maybe making the nose a little more dynamic, but um, you know, nothing amazing, as far as the difference is concerned. Um, it usually comes out. I usually don't get into value when I do a rating. So when I rate the scotch, I do it without the value really taking a hold into it. But this is usually valued at 55 to 50 on the low end, which I think is well worth it. I would get it 75 to 80 on the higher end. And that's where I'll probably draw the line around maybe 65, 70 at the ultimate top end for this. The secondary market, I have seen these as high, unbelievably, for $300. And I would not even think about that unless you were only collecting these to resell without drinking them. But why, collect whiskey if you're not going to drink it? And, if you want to play the stock market, you can go do that. But this is whiskey, so I think it should be drank. That's just my personal opinion, but definitely not at $300 plus. I wouldn't go there. It's a solid, slightly above average dram. I'm going to give it a 3.5. Um, I was thinking 3.25, but The finish without the water is actually a really nice taste. It's a summer sip and dram that you could really easily pair with food. I think it's kind of reminiscent of a Dalwhinnie 15, if that makes sense to some of you guys. It's solid. It's a great intro scotch to people that haven't had scotch before. I would definitely recommend this before I would give them a Lafroig, or on the other end, like a Macallan or Glendronach, something very heavily sherried. This is a really good intro, especially because it is ex-bourbon cast from a bourbon drinker to a scotch drinker. The Royal Lochnagar 12 is the same make that as they do the Game of Thrones series. There's no difference from my research. It doesn't. There's no any difference in that. So get either one. The only other bottle I saw, because I was interested enough to look for an 18, I couldn't find one unless it was like a Cadence Heads independent bottling. But they do have a selected reserve that it's like $250, and it's 43% versus 40, which is a step in the right direction, but it's an NAS. And I've heard that it's as far as ratings, it's probably something similar to this one, really. So I am interested in hearing if anyone else has had that. So when we do the live discussion here in a second, definitely let me know which Royal Lochnagar's you've had, independent or distillery bottlings. Well, thanks so much. I'm gonna start a new live here in a second, and thanks for stopping by. And hopefully you'll get a chance to get your hands on it for a reasonable price.